Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for July 13, 2022, The Corruption Will Ruin Your Life edition. And we begin with that from the FCPA Blog. Although the FCPA Blog has been a contributor to the Daily Compliance News before, they've never been the lead story. So kudos to Harry Casson for a story about a short film by Mercedes or from Mercedes-Benz about corruption. And it's posted on the Mercedes-Benz No Chance for Corruption resource website. And it talks about the how, rather, if you engage in corruption, not only will the company pay, but you'll pay. So a great message to get out. I don't think we talk about that enough in the compliance world, that once you pay a bribe, you're stuck. Next up, couple of entries from the Wall Street Journal, a risk and compliance journal. The first one from Dylan Tokar, who writes about DOJ's Kenneth Polite, who has put prevention at the forefront of white-collar crime efforts. Typically, you think of the Department of Justice as more reactionary, coming in to try and prosecute after a violation of the FCPA or other anti-corruption or fraud law has been uncovered. But here, he wants companies to move to being more preventative, and he wants to provide resources to compliance officers to help this. He points to the CCO certification, which the DOJ continues to tell us will raise and elevate the CCO to a position where they will get resources and funding in a way they perhaps had not in the past. Of course, myself and others have questioned, does this create a new layer of CCO liability? So interesting article. And if the DOJ is moving in this direction, it's certainly going to be a change in focus. Next up, the corrupt former Herbalife China executive, Jerry Lee, did not ever respond to the SEC bribery charges brought against him in New York City, and has therefore defaulted. And a default judgment was entered with damages of $550 set by the federal district court. And really no surprise here, Lee has never appeared, never given his side of the story. And the facts laid out in the Herbalife FCPA enforcement action, although Lee did not sign off on them, were clearly pretty damning as to his bribery and corruption. And finally, also from the Wall Street Journal, the Department of Justice is investigating the PGA over potential antitrust violations. The PGA is in a huge battle with the LIV Tour from Saudi Arabia, and now the PGA is under investigation for antitrust or anti-competitive actions. I'm shocked, simply shocked to find that a monopoly would engage in anti-competitive actions. Simply shocked. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.